Hey everybody, this is Cody 22 here. Welcome to Cody Talks Fandom, episode number 46. Forgot there for about 2 seconds. Yeah, so for this episode, we will be continuing along with the canon versus Fanon episodes. I'm excited because I really like these episodes, and we're almost at an end, sadly. But you know, it's been a good run. I'm excited to be able to do some of the other ideas that I've had for this show. But for right now, we're still in Canon versus Fanon, or sorry, not Canon versus Fanon. I changed that name episode 2, and I always call it that still. Maybe I shouldn't have changed the name. Fanon Interpretations. We're on episode number we're on the final 2. But before I get into that, friendly reminder, I have an interview with Valkyrie Music. Today is the last day you can submit questions, so please submit questions, because I want to ask Dom some more questions. You guys have already submitted a good amount, I will tell you that, but you know, I'm literally recording this the day of because I did not feel like, because the other one would have been a mess to edit and I just didn't feel like it. Anyways, that's all besides the point. Back to our regularly scheduled broadcasting. This episode is going to be the second to last one. We're on to the antagonists of RWBY. Starting off with one of my personal favorite characters to ship people with. We're going to be talking about Roman Torchwick and his Fanon interpretation. So Roman is a dick. Really, yeah, I mean, it's kind of blunt, but it's kind of true. Roman is just this character that he's a character that within the canon follows a very Rooster Teeth like theme. He's a villain that knows he's a villain, that enjoys being a villain. He is one of He is somebody that from the way that it looks, Cinder has brought on board to be kind of this scapegoat like figure. You know, he's the face to hate while she's off doing other things. You know, getting other things ready. So that's kind of the role that Roman fits in right now, is just being this scapegoat figure that, you know, it's like, you know, hey, I'm doing all the bad things and it's just me. I don't have any instruction from anybody else. And that is, it's very a Rooster Teeth to have a villain that enjoys being the villain so much. Everybody else kind of in Rooster Teeth, in Rooster Teeth, everybody else kind of in RWBY so far that we've seen as villains hasn't really showed, that, you know, hey, I'm a villain who's a villain to be a villain because I like being a villain. And I don't know if we're gonna get that. Cinder would be the one that you look at as a possibility, but the problem is we have the song Sacrifice to make assumptions off of. And based strictly on Sacrifice, my assumption would be that she actually has a reason for turning bad, because that's what the song implies. It sounds like a Cinder song, and I don't remember if I'm saying that because I heard that it was a Cinder song somewhere, or because it just does sound like a Cinder song. But anyways, that's kind of irrelevant. It sounds like a Cinder song. I think it is a Cinder song. So Sacrifice is kind of like what, or is kind of why I don't think we're going to get another villain like that. But that's something to be talked about, not this week, but next week, because Cinder is up next. But Roman is just like, hey, I'm here, I'm a dick, let's fuck shit up. You know, he's the one to steal candy from a baby. You know, he's just that kind of a guy. He's just that kind of a mean, bad person. And he's just, you know, he tries to kill, he tries to do all these things, and, you know, at the same time, he just really doesn't like people. He just doesn't, like, ever seem to really get along with people. Because he doesn't like / get along with Cinder's other two, Emerald and Mercury. I forgot both of their names. Emerald and Mercury. He doesn't really seem to get along with those two. He doesn't really, he kind of listens to Cinder. We have yet to see his relationship with Neo. That's kind of what we're waiting on to see in terms of. That's what we're kind of waiting on to see in terms of, is there anything about this guy that is like not redeemable? He's kind of beyond the point of being a redeemable character in terms of friendliness, but is there anything about this guy that is decent? That is, I'm more than just a dick and a piece of shit. I am this as well. So we are waiting on that. And I don't think we're going to get it, personally. I think that the relationship with Neo is going to become, like, this kind of... I think that the relationship with Neo is going to be like, this isn't... Yeah, none of this shit. This is just, we're evil together. We're bad people together. Otherwise, Roman, as far as personality goes, beyond just, like, being this kind of horrible person, he is also... he also is somebody who he's really sassy, and that's kind of like a big thing to his character. Is he's got a lot of sass. He's got a lot of sass. He's got a lot of talk back. The only person we've not seen him really sassing / talking back to has been Cinder, and that is that's fun from a lot of standpoints, because it's kind of obvious that Cinder is like the only person that holds a position of power over Roman. She's the only one that holds a spot where she is to the point where he respects her enough to not say anything to her, and that's something that people can play with a little bit. But Roman is definitely, he's just a fun character from the standpoint of there's so much, like, he's sassy, he's sarcastic, he's an asshole, and he's a villain, and he's evil, and he loves being evil, and so he's just a fun character to just kind of play around with. Roman, as far as that's canon, we don't have a ton of variety as far as canon goes. He's the most consistent character in RWBY, just from the standpoint of, he appeared on screen in episode 1, and he was just like, hi, I'm here to steal and murder and be fabulous while doing so. And after that, he hasn't really changed, and he's kind of one of the only characters that has stayed consistent throughout, that has never really, that hasn't altered too much. And that's just like, that's good. That's really good from the writing standpoint. Unfortunately, it makes my job a little bit harder in terms of talking about variety, because there's really not a ton of variety to do with Roman. He is, as far as the fanon goes, I'm not surprised that we don't have that much variation in terms of how we characterize Roman, because, hey, he's just like hasn't been shown there. But as far as the characterization of him within the fanon, a lot of times he is portrayed as this kind of, he's under Cinder, very sarcastic, very sassy, and that's really kind of it to him, is he's just this sarcastic, sassy, he becomes the meme. And what I mean by that is that, there's like, hello, naughty children, it's murder time. There's, I came out here to attack people and having such a good time right now. There's that, and that kind of becomes Roman, and he doesn't really, damn it. And he isn't really this, and it feels as though, and it feels to me as though this kind of part about him where he is this great villain. He is a fantastic villain who, who is willing to murder, who is willing to do everything. I mean, putting it this way is, for a lot of he procrastinate the way that actually I'm borrowing this one from Cinder's Fall on Tumblr. Julie, he procrastinated murdering somebody. Like that's to the point of what he is he's not like a go in and get this over with. He's just like, I was gonna get around to it, but like he's that kind of evil. Like he's awful. There's nothing that's like, nobody's ever gonna argue that this guy is decent or has any shred of or is decent enough to be redeemable. Nobody's gonna argue that because he isn't. And that is something that Roman, and that is something that we kind of just ignore as far as the fandom side of things go, is that Roman is not just this sassy character who's completely beneath Cinder. He's evil, and he is horribly evil. He's very, very much so a villain. He has no problem with, and in terms of competence, he's also the most competent character that we've seen on screen so far. I'm not counting in the finale Coffee, maybe Good Witch, sorry, scratch that. Glinda and Cinder we've also seen really in action, so I think he's up there. He's in the top 3. I'm not counting like Coffee and Port and Nubla because we saw them for not very long, but he's like the most competent character in terms of fighting because his only job ever, his job has never been to beat RWBY. Up to this point, we have not seen his job be beat RWBY. We've seen his job be stall and complete your plan, and he does that, and he does that just fine. And Roman is just kind of, he does it up big, he does it up flashy, and he does it efficiently. And he, but the thing is the fact that, ultimately his only job has ever been to stall. And otherwise we've seen him taking on Blake and Sun at the same time. We've seen him fight all 4 of RWBY in a very large, slow-moving machine. And we've seen him fight Blake one-on-one. And then he loses all of those. And kind of the theme is just like, he just gets cocky. He gets hit by Blake because he's laughing. He's laughing at his ability to deflect Sun. He gets beaten by RWBY because he underestimates, or he either doesn't know or underestimates Yang's semblance, and then he gets beaten by Blake because he just straight up thinks he's going to beat her. It's a 1v1. He was pretty close to beating her 2v1 before he got cocky. He was probably just like, yeah, nah, this is free. I can beat Blake any day, and that's a big trait about Roman. He is so cocky that I think that if he thinks that people are beneath him, he's just going to like not throw in the towel, but he's going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to lose this match, and I don't even need to try anymore. And then he does lose, which I think that's a theme that we've seen with this character. That's also not something that's really been super duper explored by anybody. Even from the canon standpoint, that's not something that's like, this is what we see this is what we see happening with Roman. But there are a lot of, you're not gonna be able to make that, huh? There are a lot of, there's a lot of fun points with Roman in terms of him being a villain that just kind of underexplored right now. I'd really, on a personal note, I'd love to see it. And it's also important to remember, he's not just Cinder's bitch. At the end of the day, he is still competent, and he's still the only one that we've seen do a lot of damage in the show. Nobody else has done a lot of damage outside of the finale of Volume 2, which I don't really count that much in terms of when I go in depth with these characters, because that was just kind of a show-offy sort of a thing in terms of the fighting and whatnot. Volume 2 finale is just, so outside of that, it's been the yellow trailer, and that's where we've seen people do a lot of damage. Otherwise, it's been just Roman doing just tons of damage to everything. He's breaking everything, and he's hurting people, and he's not being a nice person. And that's what separates Roman from other characters in the show, is how much damage he has been shown to be capable of doing. This is all while his only job is to not, well, this is while his job isn't to necessarily do damage. Even if you remove the train, he's still doing a lot of damage. His job has been like steal shit and then detrain, obviously, but he's just like, nah, I'm just gonna break everything and kill people in the process of doing this, or try and kill people in the process of doing this. And it's kind of just like this big blank. What happens when his job is to kill people? When his job is to do these things? I mean, he seems like a very professional man, from the standpoint of, if you give him a job, he's probably gonna do it. So if Cinder gives him a job and says, hey, I just need you to murder people, he's probably going to murder people. Obviously there was the whole Tuxin fiasco, but he procrastinated that one. He had other jobs. He had more important jobs at the time where he needed to gather more dust. And Roman is just kind of, it feels as though we are just waiting on Roman to just do something, to just kind of explode, in both canon and in Fanon. And I think that those two are going to happen. I think that when he explodes in canon, he's going to explode in Fanon. When he explodes in Fanon, he's going to... When he explodes in canon, he's going to explode in Fanon. I think that the moment that he just like goes off the rail, completely batshit in canon, the Fanon is going to reflect that. And I am personally excited about that. I personally can't wait for that to happen. But for right now, we're just kind of left with guesses and hopes of this character will really. I gotta go kill. We're just kind of left with this hope of, this character will eventually do these things. And, I really want that to be explored. I want it to be explored so bad. Within the Fanon. Fuck. Roman is just like, he's a time bomb. Like I said, we're waiting for him to explode. And I think that, some people maybe, he's not somebody to like go on a completely murderous rampage for no reason. He's somebody to go on a completely murderous rampage because it would delight him. It's something that's like an objective of his. And I just can't wait. Like I said, I just can't wait. The other aspect of this show, though, is talking about shipping with this character. Shipping with this character, yeah, you can. What the fuck? I guess I'm just leaving sheet back to a pen. He's an interesting character as far as shipping. The three most popular ships for him are Sephora, Justice is Blind, and False Appearances. Not necessarily in that order. Actually, I fucked up the order there a little bit. It's False Appearances and then Justice is Blind. But shipping with him is... I'm not going to keep going any longer. Those are just three of my favorite ships with him, though Sephora might be on there. Three most popular ships with Roman is kind of hard to pinpoint. My best assumption would be Romanson, whatever Neo. I remember Orange Sherbert. That's all I like fully remember for Roman Neo, but Roman Neo, and in the third spot, it's pretty flexible. You can probably go a lot of different ways with that. Like Sephora actually probably could be considered on there, which is my personal favorite. You could put up there, you probably could have a lot of things up there, honestly. Monkey Business is probably the other one that I'd look at. I'm going to say Sephora just for the sake of, it's my favorite ship, and I can't get it into any other fucking episode ever. So Sephora, the interesting thing about those three ships is that they're all very different from each other. Now, in the case of Sephora to the other ships, that's kind of expected because simply because it is a hero-villain ship. It's the only hero-villain ship of the bunch. And so it's kind of like, you know, I expect this one to be different from Roman Sin. I expect this one to be different from Orange Sherbert. But but what's interesting is that Roman Sin and Orange Sherbert are so different from each other. Roman Sin is like every other Cinder ship. It requires a little bit of manipulation and a little bit of Cinder getting her way no matter what. Why? That's the character. That's the character that is in this ship. That's just the way that things work with Cinder Fall. Is that no matter what, she's going to be getting her way. At least a little bit. And it always has a little bit of manipulation. That's always, always, always her core ship trait. And fucking stupid sheep. And so on the other hand, Orange Sherbert, the idea behind Orange Sherbert, for now, until we have more canon to go with, the idea behind Orange Sherbert is that Roman and Neo are these kind of partners and these kind of people who can get along together. And that is true until we have reason to believe it is not true within the canon. And that's interesting, just because these are two very, very different ships. And then the other thing is that, you know, after that, Sephora, that's really different from those two. Not just from the standpoint of this is hero villain, from the standpoint of like, wow, this is just like very, very different. It's, you know, what it's based around is not the same thing as what Orange Sherbert is based around. It's not the same thing what Roman Sin is based around. It's not based around this mutual partnership. It's not based around trust. Manipulation. It's based around desire, more so than anything else. And that's just like, it makes it all just like so different, and that's fun. That we don't really have another character that I honestly cannot pinpoint specifically what the one main ship trait is for them. We don't have another character that I can do that. What one of the number one things. Even with characters like Sun, you know, it's like, it's multiple things, but at the same time, you know, it's still like the general idea is just like kind of is just like, you know, do they help the stealing or do they make the stealing worse? You know, that's just like the general idea. So Roman's fun from that standpoint. Outside of that, I don't really know many people who write Roman at all, so I didn't draw Roman that much either. Fenu, I don't know how to say their name, even when no one is around me. And so Fenu is really the only person that comes to mind for me. I actually do have a cosplayer listed, so I just need to find it. There we go. Ziggy. I saw Ziggy and Sunlit Sky. I saw both of their Roman Torchwick cosplays on Tumblr, and I really like them a lot. Also going to shout out Sonia, Soulfire Photos, doing the Fen Roman that eventually became Neo, so kind of killing two birds with one stone there. Outside of that, really don't really have anybody else to shout out, to give the mention to. But you know, hey, I enjoy all the oh my god, this is perfect. This is actually the dream. Okay, Sheepy, you're gonna have to go back a little bit because I need to be able to stay in that minecart. No, Sheepy, fuck me. Sheepy, god damn it, I just fucked up. Well, I'm walking back. Alright, that's staying in. Partially because I'm not editing this, but that's staying in because that was funny. I fucked myself so hard. So Roman, I don't even remember what I was saying. Yeah, Roman cosplays. Roman cosplays are fun. Like, those are fun, like, just the way that... Oh, one more. Who's the person called? It's like Ask Torchwick. Ask Torchwick, I think is what the name of their blog is. They're the people who do asks as Roman Torchwick with a Mercury. They are fantastic. They are really, really funny. Great Ask blog. I really like them a lot. One of my favorites. One of my favorite Ask blogs behind Ask Cantids, of course. So yeah, Ask Roman Torchwick. And oh no, Sheepy, did you get out? Oh, where did you go? Sheepy. Fuck. Well, alright, this is fun. Anyways, this is just heartbreaking for me. Ask Roman Torchwick, or Ask Torchwick, I think is what the name of the blog is. That blog's a lot of fun. And outside of that, yeah, nothing else really nobody else really to mention here. I can't think of any artists. I can't think of any writers. Yeah, no, I try to read a lot of Sephora, but there's not a lot of Sephora that exists, so reading a lot of Sephora is kind of an impossible task. God damn it. So, yeah, that's all the coverage that I have for this character specifically. So with that, this is going to conclude this episode of Cody Talks Fandom. We're down to one Fanon interpretation, and can anybody guess who it is? Actually, you should be able to guess. Everybody should be able to guess. Cinderfall. Said that before. And I'm excited for this one. Cinder is like the one who is on this list, is the only one who's on this list for a completely different reason than why everybody else is on this list. So that's exciting to me. I'm a loser, and that excites me. So look forward to that episode, because I certainly am. And otherwise tune in next week when I'll have my interview with Dom, Valkyrie Music. Very excited for that one. And otherwise, tune in on, trying to think. Oh well, wait, hang on. Ask questions today, right? Yeah, you got to do that. That's Perry. I'm dumb. Ask questions today. You gotta get them in today. I'll allow it for a little bit tomorrow, for like the morning of tomorrow, up until, I'll put it this way: if I wake up and I see a question, I will allow it. God damn it, I don't need brown. I will. Oh, come the fuck on! Really? All right. I hate my life. I hate sheep and I hate everything. Can I dye this sheep white? Fuck me. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Before I was so rudely interrupted by a sheep getting in my minecart. Yeah, ask questions. By the time I wake up tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, I will take any questions that you ask. So, yeah. Otherwise, tune in. Otherwise, I'll see all of you the next time. Boy.